Hannah Burner, are those the cozy Tommy John pajamas you're buying?
Paige DeSorbo, they are Tommy John. And yes, I'm stocking up because they make the best holiday gifts.
So generous.
Well, I'm a generous girly, especially when it comes to me. So I'm grabbing the softest sleepwear, comfiest underwear, and best fitting loungewear.
So nothing for your bestie.
Of course, I'm getting my dad, Tommy John. Oh, and you, of course.
It's giving holiday gifting made easy.
Exactly. Cozy, comfy, everyone's happy. Don't wait. Shop Tommy John's biggest savings ever and get 50% off site-wide at TommyJohn.com/comfort.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Wishing you a very happy half-off holiday because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. Like, Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day. Yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
'Tis the season to unwrap new memories. Make holiday gifting beautiful, thoughtful, and effortless with Pura's Black Friday sale. Shop up to 30% off site-wide, including curated gift sets for everyone on your list, sleek and modern diffusers for home and car, and premium long-lasting single scents that make the perfect stocking stuffers. Shop the sale at Pura.com for limited time only.
Take control of the numbers and supercharge your small business with Xero. That's Xero. With our easy-to-use accounting software with automation and reporting features, you'll spend less time on manual tasks and more time understanding how your business is doing. 87% of surveyed U.S. customers agree Xero helps improve financial visibility. Search Xero with an X or visit Xero.com/ACAST to start your 30-day free trial. Conditions apply.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Wishing you a very happy half-off holiday because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. Like, Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day. Yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Hello, I'm Sarah and welcome to the Whispering Woods After Dark. I've got one long story today, and this story, a little bit of a trigger warning. Although nothing is overly gruesome, this case involves satanic panic and murder. So if you're listening with the young ones, I'd say it's probably not the story for you. I'll get straight into it. Are you ready for the story? It's a cold January night in 1988 in the quiet suburb of Jefferson Township, New Jersey. Inside a modest family home, an unimaginable horror is about to unfold. 14-year-old Tommy Sullivan Jr., has been acting differently lately, brooding, fixated on strange new interests. His devout Catholic family has noticed the change, but nothing could prepare them for what happens after dark on this particular night. By the end of the evening, 2 lives will be lost in a shocking murder-suicide that will rattle the community and echo far beyond New Jersey. Jefferson Township in the late 1980s was the kind of place described as safe and uneventful, a slice of suburbia in Morris County. about an hour's drive from New York City. The Sullivan family fit right in. Thomas Sullivan Sr. and his wife Betty Ann were raising their two sons, Tommy Jr. and 10-year-old Brian, in a modest home on a quiet street. Tommy Jr., 14 years old, was by most accounts a good kid, an altar boy at the local Catholic church, a Boy Scout, a wrestler at his Catholic high school, a paperboy on a neighbourhood route. Neighbours and friends recall a polite, clean-cut boy who played Little League and doted on his younger brother. There were no obvious warning signs of the darkness to come. On January the 10th, 1988, Jefferson's sleepy peace was violently broken. Sometime late that Saturday night, Tommy and his mother got into an argument in their home's basement. An argument that would turn deadly. Betty Ann Sullivan, 37, was a devoted mother and a woman of faith. She had grown concerned, even alarmed, about her son's recent obsession with the occult and satanic lore. That night, concern turned to confrontation. As they argued about Tommy's newfound dark interests, the situation escalated beyond anyone's worst nightmares. In a sudden frenzy of violence, Tommy lunged at his mother with a Boy Scout pocket knife. That same kind of small knife he might have used on camping trips. He stabbed her repeatedly, fatally wounding his own mother in a fit of rage. The brutality did not end there. Amid the struggle, Tommy's mind seemed to turn toward covering up what he had done, or perhaps completing some ritual vision. He dragged his mother's bloodied body to the basement floor. Then, strangely, Tommy gathered his occult books and arranged them in a circle on the living room floor. In the centre of this ring of dark books, he piled up old newspapers. He then set the newspapers ablaze, creating a makeshift pyre in the house. Flames began to spread. Smoke filled the home. Investigators believed Tommy may have set the fire to destroy evidence, or possibly to harm his sleeping family, though his exact intent remains unknown. Morris County Prosecutor Lee Trumbull later stated investigators believed Tommy set the blaze to cover up the murder of his mother and to kill his father and younger brother, who were asleep upstairs. As the fire took hold, smoke alarms jolted Thomas Sr. awake. Upstairs, Tommy's father and little brother Brian awoke to a nightmare. Smoke seeping through the house, and the unsettling realization something was terribly wrong. Thomas Sr. rushed to douse the flames on the smouldering couch and heap of papers. Through the smoke, he and Brian made a harrowing discovery. Betty Ann's lifeless body on the basement floor. Somehow, amidst the chaos, Thomas Sr. managed to extinguish the fire before it consumed the entire home or spread to the sleeping neighbourhood houses. He then got Brian to safety, fleeing the house and calling for help. Outside, the winter night was lit by the dull glow of the house fire and the flashing red lights of arriving emergency vehicles. But Tommy Sullivan was nowhere to be found in the house. As police and firefighters arrived on the scene, at around 10:30 p.m, they expanded the search. It wasn't long before they found Tommy, but it was too late. The 14-year-old had run into a neighbour's yard and taken his own life, with the same knife he he had used on his mother. He slashed his wrists and then, in a gruesome final act, cut his throat from ear to ear. First responders found Tommy's body in the snow-covered yard next door, the Boy Scout knife still nearby and his blood staining the clean white snow of suburban New Jersey. Just like that, a picture-perfect family and community were left in ruinous shock. "Everybody here is just stunned," said Reverend John Fitzpatrick, the pastor of the Sullivan family's church, when asked about the tragedy. Neighbours struggled to reconcile the crime with the boy they thought they knew. The local police, more accustomed to routine calls or the occasional burglary, suddenly faced a macabre scene straight out of a horror film. But as shocking as the immediate violence was, what investigators found in the aftermath suggested this was more than a domestic dispute gone horribly wrong. It hinted at something sinister that had been growing inside Tommy in the weeks leading up to that night. In the investigation that followed, authorities pieced together a chilling backstory. Tommy Sullivan's violent outburst had not come from nowhere. It seemed to have been brewing for weeks. Just a month or two earlier, Tommy had been an ordinary honours student and church-going teen. But in late 1987, he developed an intense fascination with Satanism and the occult. The timing was no coincidence. In fact, it appears that fascination started as a school assignment, a well-intentioned project that took a dark turn. According to later accounts, Tommy was a freshman at a private Catholic high school. Shortly before Thanksgiving 1987, a priest who taught theology gave the students an assignment: research and write a paper on a religion or belief system different from your own. Students were allowed to choose from a list of topics. While many of Tommy's classmates picked mainstream world religions, Tommy, perhaps out of youthful bravado or genuine curiosity, chose to dive into the topic of Satanism. That decision would mark the start of his rabbit hole. By all accounts, Tommy embraced the project with gusto. He began reading every book he could find on satanic rituals, occult lore, and dark magic. Family and friends noticed a change. This once cheerful boy became morose and withdrawn. He reportedly started listening obsessively to heavy metal music, known for occult or demonic imagery. The likes of AC/DC, Iron Maiden, and other bands that the late 80s media often maligned as devil's music. The Chicago Tribune, as cited by Christianity Today, reported that in the weeks before the tragedy, Tommy spent his time studying the occult and listening to heavy metal music. What started as homework morphed into a personal obsession. Tommy's mother, Betty Ann, grew alarmed at her son's sudden interest in satanic lore. As a devout Catholic, she likely found the occult books and heavy metal albums in Tommy's room deeply disturbing. Morris County prosecutor Lee Trumbull later noted that tension in the Sullivan household began about a month before the murder, right when Tommy's occult fascination took hold. Mother and son quarrelled repeatedly over the issue. Betty Ann tried to get Tommy to abandon these dark studies, but the boy's interest only seemed to intensify. Investigators would later learn that Tommy had even started a journal of sorts, chronicling his dark thoughts. Horror filmmaker Eli Roth, who studied the case decades later, noted, "When you read his journals, you go, was this mental illness? Was this some kind of abuse going on? Nobody really knows. It's not clear-cut what really happened." Tommy's descent into darkness defied any simple explanation. What we do know is that by early January 1988, Tommy Sullivan was entrenched in occult literature. Police and reporters described titles by Aleister Crowley and Anton LaVey, infamous occultists and satanic writers, among Tommy's book collection. He reportedly had copies of grimoires, books of magic spells, and possibly Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible, as well as other paperback books on witchcraft and demonology, popular at the time. In Tommy's bedroom, investigators later found several books on the occult and Satan worship strewn about. These were the same books Tommy chose to place in a ritualistic circle around the fire he set that night, almost as if conducting a ceremony. The scene in the living room truly looked like something out of an occult ritual. A ring of occult books encircling a sacrificial fire. It's this detail that first hinted the Sullivan case was not a typical crime of passion, but something the tabloids would later label satanic. Then there was the note, evidence of just how deeply Tommy's psyche had sunk into darkness. While searching the fire-damaged home, investigators discovered a notebook or letter that Tommy had written before the fatal argument. Prosecutor Trumbull described it as a suicide note, penned by the teenager prior to attack. He wouldn't reveal all its contents. They were deemed too disturbing, but he did disclose that the note was filled with satanic-like symbols and cult references. In other words, Tommy had scrawled occult imagery on the page, perhaps pentagrams, inverted crosses, or demonic sigils. This was no simple goodbye note. It read like something between a diary entry and a ritual document. Years later, Tommy's father would share more insight about what he found. Thomas Sullivan Sr., in processing his family's tragedy, revealed that he had found an entire notebook covered in occult symbols in Tommy's possessions. According to later accounts, Tommy had written about selling his soul to Satan. One passage was described by family as implying he was prepared to make a sacrifice, possibly referring to his mother, to prove his devotion. So what drove Tommy to such an extreme? Was he truly convinced some demonic force would reward him for this violence? Or was he suffering a profound psychological breakdown, merely framing his turmoil in the symbols of the Satanism he'd been dabbling in? Investigators at the time considered multiple possibilities. They did check whether Tommy was under the influence of any substances, but found no clear evidence he was drunk or high that night. By all accounts, the boy was sober and deliberate. Some who have studied the case suspect Tommy may have had an undiagnosed mental illness that latched on to satanic fantasy as a framework. Others suggest he fell victim to the power of suggestion, effectively scaring himself to death with the subject matter he was researching. But in 1988, a more supernatural explanation took root among many observers, that Tommy invited the devil in, literally. This idea was only fueled by the bizarre and macabre elements of the crime scene and by Tommy's own writings. When authorities stood in that smoke-stained living room, looking at a circle of occult books and ashes, it was easy to imagine they had stumbled upon a satanic sacrifice ritual. The public would soon imagine exactly that, and the case's timing could not have been worse, or more fitting, depending on your perspective. America was in the grip of the late 1980s satanic panic. New Jersey had already seen its share of occult-related fears. Back in 1972, a mysterious unsolved death of a teenager, Jeanette De Palma in Springfield, New Jersey, had sparked whispers of witchcraft in the woods. In the mid-80s, scattered incidents like vandalized churches, animal mutilations, and graffiti of pentagrams made local news in various parts of the state, often attributed, rightly or wrongly, to teen Satanists. Nationwide, a few rare but shocking crimes by teenagers invoking Satan added fuel. For example, in 1984, a group of youths in Long Island murdered a friend in what they described as the Satanic Rite, the Ricky Queso case. In 1986, a Californian teen obsessed with black metal music killed his mother. These stories were in the news, creating a sense that it could happen anywhere. An education journal noted in 1989 that even small towns were confronting unsettling incidents. One example of 15-year-old girl's suicide note professing devotion to Satan, and a horrific case of teens in Georgia who strangled a girl as the supposed sacrifice. Then came Jefferson Township's turn in the spotlight. The Sullivan case hit the media like a lightning bolt. Here was a wholesome Boy Scout, an altar boy, turned into a murderer, seemingly under occult influences. It fit the panic narrative too perfectly. The New York Times covered the story as well, emphasizing the boy's interest in Satan worship. Even Christian magazines cited Tommy's case as a dire warning. Christianity Today, in a March 98 issue, described how Thomas Sullivan Jr., a 14-year-old from New Jersey, murdered his mother and then took his own life. After weeks of studying the occult and listening to heavy metal, they mentioned the case in the same breath as a lawsuit against a heavy metal band, illustrating how some groups linked rock music to satanic influence. Locally, the reaction was perhaps even more intense. People who lived in the area recall that law enforcement and school officials swiftly mobilized to address the perceived satanic threat. Not long after the murder-suicide, Jefferson Township Police held special community meetings. One local who grew up there remembers that Detective Mark Hart of the Jefferson Police gave a public assembly for parents and students about the dangers of Satanism, handing out information on how to spot warning signs. The resident recounted that, at the meeting, authorities specifically warned families to be vigilant about things like heavy metal music, Dungeons and Dragons games, Ouija boards, anything that might be a gateway to devil worship in the eyes of the 1980s mindset. For many in Jefferson, it felt like evil had come home. Almost immediately, rumours spread that Tommy must have been involved with an actual cult. Surely he couldn't have conjured up all this on his own, people thought. There had to be a secret satanic coven in the area that recruited him. The official investigation did look for any evidence that others were involved or that Tommy had accomplices influencing him. Nothing conclusive ever emerged on that front, but that didn't stop speculation. An early press release hinted that investigations revealed that Tommy was himself a part of a satanic cult, though this was never proven. To this day, some wonder if an underground group might have egged him on, an older friend perhaps, or a correspondence with an occult practitioner. But no second perpetrator was ever found, and police ultimately concluded that Tommy acted alone in the murder of his mother. But there were whispers amongst the community of clandestine rituals in the woods around Morris County. Teens traded stories that there were gathering spots, an abandoned house, a clearing in the nearby forest, where hooded figures met at midnight. And one element of the Catholic Church lent credence to the supernatural interpretation. Some community members later speculated that even Catholic authorities considered the possibility of demonic possession, though the Church never formally confirmed this view. According to one summary of the era, even the Catholic Church was convinced this was a case of demonic possession. Whether that's an overstatement or not, we do know that local priests were deeply troubled. They had ministered to Tommy and his family shortly before the tragedy. In fact, the Sullivan family had attended Mass on the evening of the murder, Saturday, January the 10th, 1988. The case tracked into primal fears. Was Satan literally prowling the peaceful neighbourhoods of Jefferson Township, looking for someone to prey on? And had Tommy, by delving into forbidden lore, essentially opened the door and said, "Come in"? The title of a modern true crime series about the case, Let the Devil In, encapsulates that notion. In the aftermath, paranormal reports and urban legends sprouted. One chilling anecdote emerged years later from a person who lived in town at the time. At a party in the mid-1990s, this individual met someone who had been one of Tommy Sullivan's closest childhood friends. According to a second-hand account shared years later, a friend claimed Tommy had once left a chilling message saying he was going to hell and would someday come back for them. In this telling, Tommy's note to his friends said that after death he would return from hell to reunite or perhaps retaliate. The friend confessed that he had nightmares for years, genuinely afraid that Tommy's ghost or spirit might come for him as promised. And the fact was that it was believed by those kids, at least for a time. It speaks to how deeply the incident traumatized local youth. To them, Tommy wasn't just a kid who lost his mind. He had transformed into a figure of pure terror, perhaps a pawn of the devil who might still be lurking beyond the grave. There were also reports of strange occurrences around the Sullivan home in the months after. Some neighbours said that late at night they could see flickers of light in the burned-out house, as if the fire had somehow imprinted itself on the place. Others claim that the property felt cursed. Perhaps the most persistent legend is the notion that Tommy was possessed by a demon. It's a story that found fertile ground, especially given the Catholic framework of the family. The very idea of demonic possession has a creepy resonance. A basically good kid suddenly taken over by an evil entity, compelled to commit unspeakable acts. While mental health experts might offer alternative explanations, such as an acute psychotic break, some clergy at the time did not rule out possession. 37 years later, on winter nights when the wind howls through the bare trees of Morris County, some residents who remember 1988 still shudder and recall the boy who let in the devil. And the tale of what happened there ensures that Jefferson Township will never feel quite as tranquil. Was Tommy Sullivan simply lost to madness, or did something paranormal seep into his soul?
Take control of the numbers and supercharge your small business with Xero. That's Xero. With our easy-to-use accounting software with automation and reporting features, you'll spend less time on manual tasks and more time understanding how your business is doing. 87% of surveyed U.S. customers agree Xero helps improve financial visibility. Search Xero with an X or visit Xero.com/ACAST to start your 30-day free trial. Conditions apply.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Wishing you a very happy half-off holiday because right now Mint Mobile is offering you the gift of 50% off unlimited. To be clear, that's half price, not half the service. And Mint is still premium unlimited wireless for a great price. So that means a half day. Yeah? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
I would highly recommend the documentary, even though it's not rated that greatly, but there's loads more information in the Eli Roth documentary that I watched over Halloween. Because there are people in the documentary saying that they definitely think he was possessed and there's some weird stuff going on. Also, there are people who locally went to the forest during those times and they did see these black-robed figures. And also, I think it was the daughter, the pastor, who saw Tommy in her bedroom and told her to jump out of her window. So it's got loads more information in there. I couldn't fit it all into one episode. So I'd highly recommend that. It's on Amazon Prime. I think it's MGM. But yeah, don't know. Couldn't say what was going on here. But it's also got the nun's perspective as well, which is really interesting. And I thought she was great. Well, that's it from me today. And I'll catch you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
Tis the season to unwrap new memories. Make holiday gifting beautiful, thoughtful, and effortless with Pura's Black Friday sale. Shop up to 30% off site-wide, including curated gift sets for everyone on your list, sleek and modern diffusers for home and car, and premium long-lasting single scents that make the perfect stocking stuffers. Shop the sale at Pura.com for a limited time only.
Hannah Burner, are those the cozy Tommy John pajamas you're buying?
Paige DeSorbo, they are Tommy John. And yes, I'm stocking up because they make the best holiday gifts.
So generous.
Well, I'm a generous girly, especially when it comes to me. So I'm grabbing the softest sleepwear, comfiest underwear, and best fitting loungewear.
So nothing for your bestie.
Of course, I'm getting my dad, Tommy John. Oh, and you, of course.
It's giving holiday gifting made easy.
Exactly. Cozy, comfy, everyone's happy. Don't wait. Shop Tommy John's biggest savings ever and get 50% off site-wide at TommyJohn.com/comfort.
Parles-tu français?
¿Hablas español?
Parli italiano?
If you've used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based technique teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world. With lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers, Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/acast. Spelled BABBEL.com/acast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
The stories told on the Whispering Woods are inspired by historical records, witness reports, and local folklore. While every effort is made to research and represent events accurately, some details, names, and locations may differ from official accounts or have been changed out of respect for those involved. These episodes are created for storytelling and entertainment purposes and should not be considered definitive fact or investigative journalism.